Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Danai Bezantakou, and we have the great pleasure to host the Ambassador of Panama in Greece, Mrs. Julie Liberopoulos. Mrs. Liberopoulos, Your Excellency, welcome.
Thank you. Kalispera se όλους. I'm very happy to be with you today. My name is Julie Liberopoulos. I'm the Ambassador and General Consul of Panama in Greece. I would like to mainly thank the Slide to Open Shipping Finance 2021 conference organizers for this successfully phygital interactive conference experience, the distinguished speakers, as well as all attendees for participating in this interesting exchange of ideas. Undoubtedly, COVID-19 pandemic constitutes a great challenge for everyone in person, for every aspect of life and every sector of economy. Of course, the maritime industry was not an exception. All shipping professionals were called to act fast, take bold decisions, and adapt to the restriction and new facts imposed by the pandemic in order to protect ourselves, our employees, and ensure ongoing provision of services to our clients and users. Imagine that I started my new mission in Greece back in February 2020 with the outbreak of the pandemic. I'm very happy to represent the country of Panama, whose priority since the beginning of this unprecedented pandemic as a state and as a flag was to follow the World Health Organization recommendations for the protection of welfare of users, strategic partners, and collaborators.
And let's start now with our interview. Panama's coping with COVID-19. How did the Panama Ship Registry cope with this unprecedented situation that COVID-19 imposed?
It was amazing that all the offices included the Panama Maritime Authority's headquarters, our embassy and general consul of Panama in Greece, all 53 consular offices around the world, and our 14 technical Segumar international offices immediately began working remotely and fully implemented digital measures to cover all the needs of our esteemed clients while protecting the health of all the employees in a continuous 24/7 basis. Don't forget the Panama Flag Registry is backed up by a state, and it has more than a center of performance since 1917 and constitute a worldwide flag leader since 1983. Panama took rapidly effective measures concentrating on digital solutions and remote expedition of documents and conduction of surveys, which was the main objective of our new administration. Moving forward with the technology and innovation was our main goal, as a register and COVID pandemic constitute a great reasons for our new digitalized procedures to be implemented on an early stage, always effectively and efficiently.
Thank you very, very much. Very important. General Consulate of Panama implementing the actions taken by the Panama Maritime Authority. So the General Consulate of Panama in Greece, acting as the representative of Panama Maritime Authority, had to adapt to the new measures and implement in full the actions taken regarding the pandemic. How easy was that?
First of all, allow me to explain that our embassy and consulate in Greece is the only diplomatic representation in Greece with authorization to issue official documents on behalf of the Panamanian government and the Panama Maritime Authority, Merchant Marine and Crew Administration. Secondly, I'm very lucky to have a team of highly experienced personnel who were able to rapidly adapt to remote working while ensuring all the needs and services of our clients were met. In our case, we work with rotation of physical, digital work, depending on the needs of the physical presence of each department, shipping and corporate, technical services, and crew. In reality, due to the experience of our personnel and our excellent teamwork, we never stop being one-stop office for all Panama flag users. The success of this measure was evidenced by providing interrupted and personalized services to all our clients, and that we as a consulate and Panama Registry overall marked a growing, expanding number despite the pandemic. I believe this is an extraordinary achievement, and it will never have been possible without the combination of the two factors: excellent backup from the government and the Panama Maritime Authority, and highly qualified personnel at our local consulates.
Very, very important, the cooperation in such a crisis. Undoubtedly, Panama Ship Registry stood out for the way it managed that humanitarian crisis that occurred in reference to the crew changes of seafarers. Would you like to talk to us regarding this topic?
Yeah, it has been really a big and great experience with a lot of problems, but excitement too, because I believe that the whole country have that problem. But we could not provide a complete picture of handle of the pandemic without referring to the crisis management of crew changes which occur as a result of the pandemic restriction and very rapidly got out of scale to reach the size of a global humanitarian crisis. Panama was one of the first countries in the world to apply the recommendation established by the IMO regarding the prevailing need for safe crew changes and the protocol for performing them safely.
And there were many...
Our help consisted in facilitating these crew changes as essential element to ensure that the seafarers return to the country of origin and those seafarers who need to replace them could embark so that the merchandise and all the trade was carried out safely. This commendable work was carried out despite the restriction of the airports and sanitary fences worldwide that made it difficult. Following these guidelines, we made our protocol called diagram of the modalities for repatriation, disembarkation, and boarding of crew members, which contemplate 7 different cases. In addition to crew changes, requests for vessels require medical care for seafarers were proceeded, allowing the crew to disembark for medical care related to dental cases, prenatal controls, among others, all with prior authorization from our Ministry of Health. From March to December 2020, we achieved the total sum of 12,329 movements related to the change of crew, repatriations, landings, and shipments of seafarers of various nationalities, including Panamanian, from different types of vessels that arrive in our jurisdictional waters and ports, both by sea and by air, in vessels belonging to the Panamanian register as well as the register with other flags, in frank collaboration with the IMO member states, which has been a valuable and rewarding experience. This has allowed us to collaborate with people, passengers, and crew of more than 50 different nationalities in recognition of the work carried out by seafarers as essential workers, being a fundamental link in the global supply chain, in addition to compliance with the conventions ratified by the Republic of Panama. During all this month, we have worked hard entirely for our 318,000 seafarers aboard than the more than 8,500 ships that belongs to our flag through the execution of actions that have been fully verified nationally, international, highly ensuring that the rights enshrined in international labor conventions are fulfilled, even in times of pandemic in which we have worked tirelessly so that all seafarers on board our ship maintains the current employment contracts and guarantee the payment of their wage, the right to repatriation, the right to vacation, the payment of overtime, the right to medical attention, and other employment benefits. Proof of our commitment is that we managed to recover more than $2 million in wages owned by the ship owner to seafarers as a result of 427 labor complaints proceed regarding no payment of the wages to seafarers during 2020. Besides that, 539 repatriation of abandoned crew members of Panamanian flag vessels were carried out in various parts of the world at the end of the 2020. This hard work reaffirms our commitment to the application of the Maritime Labor Convention 2006 as amended, of which Panama is a signatory, as well as the national regulations whose main function is to ensure that seafarers enjoy living and working conditions, decent ones that guarantee the well-being.
Growth of Panama Registry in 2020 despite the pandemic. What you pointed out so far seems quite interesting, and I would like to thank you for sharing with us this information. What are, in your opinion, the consequences that the Panamanian Ship Registry faces due to this response strategy that it implemented towards the pandemic?
Now we are in the position to evaluate the positive outcome of this implementation by looking at the positive figures of the growth of the registry through the year 2020. Panama Maritime Authority reached its best result in 2020 since 2011. For the first time since the end of 2011, the Panamanian Registry has exceeded 230 million gross net mark and has also obtained his best growth, which makes us, of course, feel extremely proud. In 2020, despite the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, Panama Ship Registry marked a growth of 6.22% compared to 2019 with 8,516 vessels. Also, according to Clarksons Research Services Ltd., the Panamanian flag flies more than 60% of the world maritime fleet in terms of gross tonnage. The Panama Ship Registry, despite the global economic slowdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, shows positive results, considering that there are fewer ships, fewer new construction, more competitors, and more international enforcement. We have reached a milestone of our register. Between January and December 2020, Panama Registry has added 1,033 vessels to its fleets and 29.7 million gross tonnage. Of this group, 339 vessels correspond to new buildings, contributing 14.3 million gross tonnage to the Panama fleet. The percentage of vessels cancellation and transfers to other registers during 2020 was reduced by 25.8%, a figure that corresponds to the best result obtained in the last 10 years. We have managed to reduce cancellation due to the fleet transfers, a really positive figure since it shows the trust that the ship owners maintaining the services provided by our registry. As was already noted, the registry introduced a series of improvements last year, including a complete reengineering of the processes, incorporation of the market analysis, characterization of important areas of the sector, and introduction of electronic documents, aiming in this way to improve services and user satisfaction. The legal security offered by the register, being backed up by a nation 24/7 services, high level of professionalism, and the effort of human resources have played a fundamental role in the register growth. We will continue to put our best effort and focus on maintaining the sustained growth of the register over the next years, making the permanent decisions for the benefit of our users. This is the key message that our Minister of Marine Affairs, Mr. Arauz, our General Director of Merchant Marine Authority, Mr. Cigarrista, and our General Director of Seafarers Department of the Panama Maritime Authority, Captain Maltese, are expressing toward the difficulties of the time our world faces. Thank you so much for this wonderful discussion, Danai.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for giving us update of how Panama reacted to this pandemic, and it was a great honor to have you with us. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much for inviting us. It was our pleasure.